In this video, I'm going to show you Fall Guys tips and tricks for 20 different Fall Guys maps. So let's get right into this video. So the first map we have is Full Tilt. This is a pretty simple map and I normally go always for the middle path. I think that's the quickest path. The other ones are a bit more easy if you want some checkpoints. And one of the tricks I always do for this map is I always get the drums. The drums will always boost you more than just walking as a Fall Guy, so that's a great thing to do always for this map. The next map we have is Slime Scraper, and as you many will know, this map has a bunch of skips and it also has even more skips since the physics changes. So as you can see here, I just jump to this flipper as many people do. It's just very simple. Jump to this flipper and then I jump into a seesaw. This low gravity part is a bit easy, but then here what I do is I jump and I dive, so I skip all of the punchers part and then you get into the other low gravity zone where you can skip all of the obstacles there as well. And if you get the yellow bumpers variation as I got here, you can just stand behind one and that will actually give you a boost, so that's great. Next up we have Slime Climb, and this is the same as Slime Scraper. There are a bunch of tips and tricks for this one. So the first thing you want to do is jump in this bumper. This will boost you up and you can skip at the first area of the map. Then after you can skip directly the jump here, and if you get the fan variation you can get this fan right here and skip another part of the map really easily. Then when you get into the yellow platforms area, you can jump here to the edge and from there you skip a large part of the map as you can see. Then with the new physics you don't even have to get the hammer skip, you can just dive there. And finally, the last tip I have for you, if you want to skip a bit of the map as well, you can do this flipper trick and it will actually advance you and skip a large part. As you can see, I skipped all of those bumpers. The next map we have is Blastlantis, and I always go to this yellow area because it's the easiest part to be in and not get knocked out if there is a blast ball hitting you. It's very easy to survive in that area, and what I normally do is to eliminate opponents. I just have the blast ball and it will blow up the other players, but it won't blow you up. And you can also get the blast balls and wait a while before throwing them so the players can't react to your blast ball, because if you throw it too early they can react and get away of your blast ball. So that's the most effective way to eliminate players in this map. Now the next map we have is Sunroof. This is a basic really map. If you just know how it works, make sure to count and don't copy other players, since what I did here is troll other players thinking that they were in the right tile, copying me, and then I just changed tile at the last second. So you can eliminate a bunch of players like this. Another great map we have with tips and tricks is Speed Circuit. So this is a pretty simple map. The normal route is always the best one. There's some alternative routes that will give you some speed boost by the sides, but those are always slower. And in this part where you have a hammer, always go by the left side, since if you get hit by the hammer you will actually get a boost instead of being slowed down. So this is the only tricks I have for this map. Next map we have is Skyall. This is a very simple map and there are a bunch of variations, but for every variation where you should be going is for the last golden hoop at the end. You will get 5 points for that and you only need 20. As you can see, I just go for the gold ones, and if there is a easy gold ones to get that are not in the end, I also go for them. Those are also very good. The next map we have is Hyperdrive Heroes, and this is a pretty tricky map and it always eliminates a bunch of people in the lobby. So when you end the part of the treadmills and you are waiting for the hoverboard, don't go for the hexagons. I wouldn't recommend that. I have seen some players getting eliminated doing that, and it doesn't advantage you at all since you will be at the same spot as other players just a bit later. Then in this area, as you can see, I just stay back so people don't grab me, because there are going to be players that will try to grief you and eliminate you. And if you get this variation at the end, I would always go to the hexagons. It's the easiest part since the bar can't hit you. Just go into the edge of the hexagons and that's an easy qualify. Now we have RollOff, our first final of this tips and tricks video, and this one I won very easily. What you have to do is never jump in this final. At the start it doesn't impact you a lot, but later on the other players get eliminated because they are jumping and they end up falling in the slime, when you actually just have to change from platform to platform really quickly. The next map we have is the Swivelers. If you have the fan coming to you, you can get eliminated by the fan, so try to go at the edge of the map as I'm doing here, cutting as much as possible. This way you're going to go faster than the fan and you can save a bunch of time and not get eliminated. Next up we have Stomping Ground, and this is one of the most challenging survival maps in the game, and my trick is always to stand in the middle in all variations. If you get the rotating platform variation, it's a bit more easy since you can avoid the rhinos very easily, but if you get the normal variation, I still would go into a middle, since if I get hit by the rhino, I normally don't even get eliminated because it doesn't hit me far enough normally, so it's a great way to survive. Next up we have Hexagon, and so what I do is always slow jump. This way you have to jump and dive. Anytime you want to conserve as many tiles as possible, you just have to jump and dive. That's the best way to keep the tiles, and you also have to utilize always as much as possible grabbing. If someone is going to jump in front of you, grab them so they can fall off. So next up we have Lily Leapers, and this is a map that has many tips and tricks. What you always want to do is every time you jump you want to dive, and this is the quickest way to speedrun this map and try to qualify. And if you get this middle path, you can skip directly into this Lily path and get these two after, and it's pretty easy to qualify from there. Next up we have Kraken Slam, and what I would do for this map is to stay away from other players and stay away from the tentacles of the Kraken, obviously. So you want to find a perfect spot where there are no players to grieve you and there are no tentacles at the start of the game. At the end of the game it becomes more difficult to find these perfect spots and you have to try to survive, but the early game you want to do this, and this already eliminates a bunch of players. And then at the end game what I do is I just start grabbing other players and throwing them out and jump over the tentacles so they can't hit me, and this way is how I get the victory for this match. Next up we have Space Race. This is a map that recently got unbolted. When you get into a moving platforms, you can directly jump into the top part without changing platform since there's the low gravity. Then try to go in the Hexagon's top path. Then always go into this edge path since it's the quickest path here. And when you get boosted up, make sure to get the platform in front of you since it's actually possible to get that one. Then we have Big Shots, one of the easiest maps in the game. So my trick here is just standing between both cannons and I barely even move, and I never even get hit in this game, but sometimes the cannons have a bit of aim, so just move if you think they're gonna hit you. And yeah, it's pretty simple. You normally don't even get hit if you stand between the cannons, so this should be very simple to qualify for everyone. So the next map we have is Rollout. This is a very simple map. What you only have to do is change side from side, and it doesn't have any difficult part. It goes pretty slow, and if you stand away from players they won't grief you, so I just would stay away from players. Next up we have Lost Temple, another final that many people think it's actually luck based. So at the start of the game I just wait in the middle and see which of the two doors actually open, so I'm not in the first place but I'm not super delayed, so I can still win the game. And normally in the final doors only the edge ones usually open, so it's normally one of the edge ones. In my match it actually opened the middle one. That is really rare to actually happen, but you just have to know that normally it will be the edge doors that open to the crown. The next map we have is Treto Tumble, and in this one there are a bunch of tips. So as you can see, first what I do is go into this rotating top part, directly dive, jump and dive, so I can skip one of the rotating things. Then I go into a Lily part and just dive there. It's pretty easy. Go in the slide, drop down, go in the Lily Leapers part because that's the quickest path. And finally, to end off this video, we have Frantic Factory. This is a bit challenging of a map. What I normally do is I go to the top part because if you are in the lower path, it's impossible for you to get the upper buttons that are in the color yellow, but if you are in the upper, it's still very easy to get the lower ones. And I just wait for the yellow buttons to appear and I just go for them when there are no people, and I just repeat this and I qualify for this map. So these are all of the tips and tricks I have for you in this video. I hope this helped you, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.